fourth round of Fanatec GT's 5-round European Sprint Series brings a 27-car field to Misano on Italy's Adriatic coast. The championship battle sees the leaders separated by just half a point. Team WRT's Charles Weerts and Dries Van Tor have won 5 of the past 6 races at the circuit. Marco Simoncelli in their Audi, but Raffaele Marcello and Timo Bogoslawski had 3 wins this year in their Acodis ASP Mercedes, to the Belgian pairs 2, so it's all to play for. Italian pairing Mattia Drudi and Luca Giotto have impressed in their Trezor by Car Collection Audi, but Giotto has COVID and is replaced this weekend by 16-year-old Lorenzo Patrese, and they're hoping that they can improve on Drudi's 5th place at Magny-Cours, their best result this year, and perhaps even take a podium.
This weekend to get, I think, our maiden podium, we need to be really consistent. I think we did quite a good job this year so far. We've been really consistent. We always missed something to be in the top 3. I think we showed great performance, both me, Luca, Lorenzo here with me this weekend. We just need to execute everything perfectly. We showed already that we can be there in qualifying. We have a good race pace. We have always nice freedom. We just have to do everything together.
Obviously, it's my first sprint race. It's also my first year in GT racing, so it's quite a bit of a change from last year. I'm finding the sprint format pretty good. The races are short but very intense, and yeah, we will see how I will get on this weekend.
Valentino Rossi will be adding thousands to the ranks of spectators in his home country, where his fans will be sure to cheer his every move as he and his teammate Frederik Verbies look to improve on their season best finish so far of 8th place at Brands Hatch.
The level is very high, and we have a lot of drivers that are so fast. And also these cars are different to drive, especially because you need to use a different line, because more or less you are always out of the track. So you have to cut a lot inside, to go a lot outside, and for me, for my experience, comparing with the bike, is like a different track, you know. So it's not easy about this, but I need to learn. I need to improve. My car is very good. I am in a good team, also with the good teammates that can teach me a lot, and we see.
Dynamic Motorsports Porsches have yet to shine in this year's sprint races, but Giorgio Roda will be hoping he can end that here at Misano.
For me, it's like my home race because we raced in Imola, so in Italy for the first race in Endurance, but for the sprint it's the only track in Italy, so it's like a home race. So I would say that I know Misano really well. I've done the Italian GT here and actually won the race in 2020, and I'm really happy to be here. It's one of my favorite tracks in Italy. So.
A new entry for this race on Imperiale Racing's home ground brings a Lamborghini Huracan for Italian racer Alberto Di Folco and teammate Albert Costa.
Yeah, it is the home race for me. I'm Italian, and for sure it's easier for me compared to the others. I have pole position here before in Misano, so for sure I have a little bit more experience, so we will see. I know that WRT, all the other teams are really strong, also the lineup, but you know, Imperiale is getting very good, and also with the help of Lamborghini, we'll be there soon.
Rome-born Eddie Cheever knows Misano well from his days of racing in Formula 3 and GT, and he won here in Pro-Am class, but that was in a Ferrari, and this year he's sharing a Mercedes.
It's a home race for me, obviously with Valentino Rossi living, I think, really next door. It's going to be, I hope, amazing with a lot of fans, because Italian fans are one of the best in the world. It's going to be a really hot race. I really like the track. It's very easy to lose 2-3 tenths a lap, and that makes a humongous difference since we're all so close. So yeah, cross fingers, it's going to be a good one.
Fanatec GT Sprint Pro-Am champions together in 2019, Andrea Bertolini and Louis Machiels have yet to take a class win together this year in their AF Corsa Ferrari, but were winners here in 2020, so start with great expectations at Misano.
You know, the weather is beautiful, we are close to the sea, and of course Valentino as well is here. You can imagine how many people they will come tomorrow. Yeah, it's good. I enjoy. I did many kilometers here for testing, and yeah, I like a lot. And yeah, the point is that it's so important and crucial, the qualifying, because it's not relatively easy to overtake other cars. So we will see, but the battle, it will be always like on top.
So let's explain how the Sprint Cup works. There are 5 rounds of the Fanatec GT Sprint Series. this season with a pair of races at each. Each of these lasts an hour apiece, and each car is shared by 2 drivers who swap over in the mandatory pit stop that must be made in the pit stop window between 25 and 35 minutes into the race. As well as the drivers, all 4 tyres must be changed, and vitally, there is no minimum pit stop time, so a well-drilled crew can really help its drivers gain time and perhaps even a position or 2. All the cars are run to GT3 regulations, with the field divided into 3 classes by driver grading. The Pro class is packed with manufacturer-backed drivers, and race winners are most likely to come from here. The Silver Cup is for younger, up-and-coming drivers with less experience, and then there's Pro-Am, which is just that, an amateur driver partnered with a pro. This weekend there will be 27 cars on the grid from 6 manufacturers. Audi, Ferrari, Lamborghini, McLaren, Mercedes and Porsche, all aiming to be first after 60 minutes of high-octane action in the heat of Misano. Let's take a look at the points, combined after the opening 2 endurance round and 3 sprint rounds. And at the moment, coming into Misano, it's Mercedes leading the way. It is super warm down on the grid. Well, it's actually, frankly, very hot indeed at Misano. The grid is packed, 27 cars down there. The drivers, the teams, all milling around. Well, here's the grid. So Charles Weerts on pole position, Vincent Abril alongside in the JP Motorsport McLaren. Then a fantastic job. He was really struggling in qualifying, but then suddenly went up to 3rd place. Championship challenger Timo Bogoslawski and Lorenzo Petresi at 16 alongside. Astonishing. Then come the bank of Audi, Simon Gachet and Thomas Neubauer, the top runner in the Silver Cup class. Pierre-Alexandre Jean, already an outright winner, though he's in the Silver Cup class. Nicolas Baer, Jean-Baptiste Simonau, they formed the 5th row. Peter Schothaus, yet another Audi. And then Sky Tempesta Racing, not in a Ferrari anymore, but a Mercedes, finding their form. Alex Acker and Casper Stevenson, so young guns together on row number 7. Valentino Rossi, Valle, the 46 flags waving all around the circuits with Igor Volilko. Matteo Di Gusto making his debut in the series, starts 17th for LP Racing. Adrian Delina alongside. Then Miguel Ramos, top runner in the Pro-Am Cup, starts 19th. Giorgio Roda looking for a good result on home ground. The second of the McLarens from JP Motorsport is 21st. Ugo Delacour, AF Corsa Ferrari, immediately ahead of a sister car. That's in the Pro-Am Cup of Louis Machils with Victor Maldonado starting 23rd. Alberto Di Falco as the Imperiale Racing starts 25th. Expect improvement from him. Danny Crowson with no time allowed. Jules Gougnot at the very back, looking to make a charge. Let's see how he fares. But John, it's all eyes on the front of the grid. Those first 3 cars. Charles Weerts, Vincent Abril and Timo Bogoslawski, with the wild card being Lorenzo Petresi, 16-year-old and starting 4th. 2 Audis in the top 4. It looks like an Audi circuit. Can the Mercedes or McLaren crews break the form? Here we go into turn 16. Then they'll get all eyes on the red lights on the starting gantry. There they are up ahead. 16 turns, just over 4 kilometres. The lights are going to go green. And then again, another quick flick like this morning's race, and straight into the lead goes Charles Weerts. That's the first battle won for him. Looks as though Bogoslawski might try and go up the inside of Abril. Doesn't quite make it work into turn 1. Neat and tidy. 1 car delayed in the middle order, but up front, all looking pretty clean and tidy. It was one of the Attempto Audis that lost momentum, but nice clean start there by the front row starters. Looks like a good start from Pierre-Alexandre Jean. I guess he's gained a place possibly already, being challenged up the inside by it, and he's gone round the outside of Petresi.
There's Thomas Neubauer is the one that looks to have down the inside, and well, as that Jules Gougnot all over the racetrack and off the racetrack as we dive down into turn 8. So consolidation from Charles Weerts. He looked like he was a little bit further ahead than Vincent Abril, or put it this way, Vincent Abril didn't get alongside. Oh, contact down to turn 8.
Oh, well, we've got one of the Ferraris and one of the Santalot cars I talked about. We might need a safety car, and contact, 8, and debris everywhere. If the cars had clashed and gone off the circuit, it wouldn't be so bad, but they've certainly covered the track.
Safety car immediately deployed, because that's traffic. Well, 3 cars involved. Look, coming down on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see damage to the right front of that Audi as well. So that is the 99 attempt. So that is Alex Alka who got involved. So 3 cars involved in that incident, and that car will go straight into the pit lane, and that's where it's going to stay.
Now let's ride on board at the start with Pierre-Alexandre Jean. It's very busy now. This is the view for Eddie Cheever, waiting for those lights to go green. Finally they do. He gets the power down in the Mercedes and gains at least 1 row's worth of position. So down into turn 8. We can come. Okay, the Sky Tempesta car spun the Audi around, and then the Ferrari clearly going to come into the back of it any second now. Oh, that was a heavy impact for Ugo Delacourt. Nowhere left to go, and you can see the debris everywhere. So take a look. That's Eddie Cheever going up the inside, spinning Aurélien Panis around.
But here we go. Race back underway, and I'm going to lap 4.
Right, now let's see what can happen. Charles, all the drivers have been trying to keep heat in the tyres. There's plenty of heat in their cockpits. Where's the challenge going to come from? It's very juicy from about 3rd place backwards. So we've got Thomas Neubauer trying to press onto the tail of Timo Bogoslawski, who doesn't want him there. We're riding the car in 5th place. The Ferrari of Pierre-Alexandre Jean, as he chases down Neubauer in the battle to see who's going to be top in the Silver Cup class. Neat and tidy. Lorenzo Patrese still hanging on. He's got Simon Gachet, his teammate, just in front. The 2 Audis from Tracer by Car Collection. Much neater. And of course, always, John, after a safety car, they're 1 by 1 rather than 2 by 2 through the first few corners.
I mean, looking down the inside, just having a go. Thomas Neubauer looking at Timo Bogoslawski in the 89 Mercedes side by side. This is where things can get a little bit tense because the car on the inside is going to run up the racetrack. The car on the outside really hasn't got nowhere else to go but the off racetrack line and up into another position. So that's the 33.
Yeah.
26. So just a small maneuver. That's Simona and Nicolas Bayard swapping positions. But look, Jules Gounon here. He comes down the inside. Can he carry that momentum side by side as the McLaren and the... Well, I'm just watching the Lamborghini. So Gounon needs not to be... He's going to go the long way around the outside in turn 14. Can he make it stick? Wow, I wouldn't expect that one to come out of the blue, but that is a great effort indeed.
Yeah, well,
what a pass.
That is Patrick Krapinski just not able to live with Jules Gounon's utter bravado. So another place gained by Jules, but it only moves him up to about, I think that should be 20th, 19th place. He gained 2 places on that lap. Picking off another one, goes past Matteo Di Giusto. Sorry, no, that's the 663. So that's Alberto Di Folco, who's hanging on out of turn 3. Will he be in the right position for turn 4? Not for want of trying.
He's got to make the undercut, or otherwise he's going to be hung out on the outside and allow the McLaren to make that pass. But he seems to like the outside line because he's had success, and now he's got the inside coming through turn 6, then the curve of turn 7, and contact. Dodgem cars round goes the Lamborghini, and that's going to clobber one of the corner markers. So fortunately, no specific damage. Oh, and the McLaren has got to cut down right rear tyre as a consequence of that contact. So there was residual damage, and there you see the McLaren going to have to pull off. But if he doesn't, it'll be a very, very slow trip back to the pit lane. Yeah, well, the question was, was the damage done on the first shoulder barge or the second? That side-by-side contact out of turn 6, both cars beyond track limits, and being the outer one of the pair. It's hardly surprising Alberto Di Folco was spun around. That one, no doubt, will be under investigation. So Gounon goes through, and also cutting across the curves came Krapinski. 2 clashes, and Eddie Cheever says, thank you, I'm coming through. I think Krapinski will be the one who'll get a penalty or some recognition because he actually cut across the inside of turn 6 and just ran wide into the side of the McLaren, and not only biffs it once, he biffs it the second time just to make sure he felt the first one. As we look at Charles Weerts now, he's got a comfortable lead, 2.8 seconds ahead of the McLaren.
Yeah, we haven't seen the McLaren's fabled speed in a straight line out of turn 10. Charles Weerts clearly got a very, very well set up car, courtesy of Team WRT. We've had a change of position, have we, behind? No, Peter Schothorst, sorry, he's running in 8. Jim Betts, Simonauer and Nicolas Baer, they're at the back of that Audi train. But actually, Lorenzo Patrese is just doing a good job in front of them.
And Jules Gounon again makes room up through the field. So let's see where these overtake.
Now that's why Patrese has dropped back. I had him on my timing screen, but couldn't see him. He was given a clatter there. Peter Schothorst, the Dutch racer, coming through.
Down the inside. Well, that is Simon Gachet has finally found a way around Pierre-Alexandre Jean. Now, they are in a different race, nevertheless. I think Pierre-Alexandre Jean was looking to get a strong overall position, but wisely, arguably, he's decided, well, I'll fight, but I'm not going to put myself into jeopardy. I'll let Simon Gachet go. Well, there we go. Who's going to be in first?
Yeah, well, it's Swiss badge on the belt. It's Raffaele Marciello, who raced with an Italian flag, and then he thought, hold on, I was brought up, or brung up, as he said, in Zurich, and
there he goes. The cuts, and also Neubauer follows him in. So interestingly, WRT are doing the very same thing as Akudis ASP.
But so did Abril. He dived in as early as possible as well to change to Dennis Lind. So Charles Wirtz's lead, which was going to be about 5 seconds. It was, let's say, 4.8 seconds to the good. That will continue to stretch. Now 8.8 seconds because another Audi is into second place, Simon Gachet, but very close in the pits, John.
You've got the Audi coming in directly behind the Mercedes. Your two different teams doing pit stops. There's the Mercedes JP Motorsport. But if that Audi gets out ahead of the Mercedes, then that will be a much more challenging race for Raffaele Marcello to find a way around the Gulf sponsored, and that'll be Benjamin Goethe, maybe not as experienced as Thomas Neubauer, but nevertheless it's not easy, as you know, as you can see, finding a way around. Already Valentino Rossi has been caught up on this group of cars, not really able to make a wholehearted attempt to move down the inside. Had a little look going down the inside momentarily on Casper Stevenson, but no, he knew he couldn't make a stick. Now up the inside, no, even Jules Gugnon's got to be patient. Best chance is going to come now. Good exit out of turn 10 and put himself into a position to try and get close to the back of that Lamborghini of De Falco.
Okay, the cars from third and fourth emerge in the same
status
order.
quo, indeed.
Status quo has been preserved, and the Ferrari that came in as well. Just look at the front left corner of that Audi. I sense the bodywork has been rubbing at certain points. Maybe my eyes.
Oh, you're right. There's something under braking. You can see there's tyre rub on that, so that's not going to go very far. I'm sure Fedorovic will have picked that up,
because he's only just taken over the car. It's almost as though there's a ball of rubber that's stuck between wheel and wheel arch, or is it bodywork going back? I can't see any bodywork being bent.
I suspect that's bodywork rubbing on the outside shoulder of the left front tyre, but whatever it's doing is getting worse and worse. So if Fedorovic doesn't voluntarily come in, I suspect that, well, look, you can see how wide he ran in turn 13 into 14. There's something clearly not right at the left front of the car. Whether that is a mechanical issue that's causing that, or whether it's a bodywork rub. So Vervish into the pits immediately, having just taken the car over.
Yet another pit visit for the Sky Tempesta Racing Mercedes. Chris Froggatt gets on board, and unfortunately they've had that extra stop for a puncture to be repaired after possibly triggering all of that what happened at turn 8 on the opening lap.
So we've got 3 cars yet to make that one and only pit stop for the afternoon. And they are Gugno, Maldonado, and...
Well, Cheever's just making his stop
so
now.
There's only 2 cars now that need to make the pit stop, so Cheever. And there is the race leader momentarily, although he'll drop down the field once he comes in, but he's got a great team behind him. They will turn that 88 Mercedes round. Jim Plow will get behind the wheel and continue the progress, and their target's got to be unquestionably a top 10 finish to get some points out of what has been a confusing and understandably frustrating afternoon for both Jules Gugno and Jim Plow because of that administrative issue.
Yeah, bit of a snafu, nothing to do with the drivers. Jules has done all he's done. But what was so sensible was, in his charge, slightly cautious, pressing wherever he could, but also the team have just said, now you should have clear track for a handful of laps. Go and make hay. You can't possibly squeeze another lap in, so into the pit lane as fast as he can. He'll get to the white line, and you can feel the speed coming down, hopefully to pit minimum. The car that really lost out is the gold and black McLaren. 1-1-2, started on the front row, ran second early on, but that slow pit stop that was about 12-13 seconds slower than all the cars around it means that Dennis Lind is having to play fight back, and fight back he is up to 9th, and I think that should move him actually up to 7th overall when the last 2 cars have pitted.
And there you can see just exiting out of the pit lane, the very, very long pit lane exit, so that is the 88 Mercedes, so it's going to slot in. And it just gets...
He's in front of one of the Tracer by Car Collection Audis, and if that is the 12 car, which it is, so that puts him into 13th position ahead of Matthias Drudi.
And there we are, the 46 is out. Now that was the damage we saw coming down the straight, and obviously they may be in a short-term fix, but nothing long-term, and that car's in the garage, out of the race.
The car limping in is the Sky Tempesta Mercedes. This is not racing speed, more problems. Chris Froggatt took it over from Eddie Cheever.
And that's down at turn 1 and turn 2.
Let's have a look. He's accelerating into the final corner, or slowing the final corner.
This is turn 16. Oh, crash bang wallop, and there's something on that right front doesn't seem correct.
Well, let's talk about the gap between first and second. We mentioned it was 5.2 seconds, then 5.3. It's now 5.8 seconds. So Raffaele Marcello, push as he does, he's got no answer to the pace of Dries van Tor. And at this rate, Dries is heading, forget this, his 6th win in the last 7 runnings of an event here. Benjamin Goethe may be able to hang on to third place. He's leading the Silver Cup. He doesn't need to fight the car behind, but wants desperately to finish on the podium. His best result so far this year, a 10th. He wants that third place. But in the team, they know, hold on, you're running in the Silver Cup. You can let Christopher Haas through. Christopher has a good decade more experience in Audis than you do. And he's certainly hunting, but by small increments. He's got up close. Now he's got to find a passing move.
But this is an international sort of Audi family battle. WRT on the one hand, and then Treasure by Car Collection. And so there's a load of status points up for grabs. So the Golf liveried WRT Audi does want to stay ahead of the red and white Treasure by Car Collection. And a good little battle it is. And Benjamin Goethe, who has taken a period of time to get to a level where he can drive at this, the front end of a field and do it under pressure, he's growing up.
Right, this is the point in the race where drivers have their track limits transgression pointed out. The last warning for car 159, that's one of the Garage 59 McLarens. It's Ethan Simeone, he's in 16th place overall. But any number of these top drivers, as they get more desperate, as their tyre performance goes away, you can see the cars running off the circuit at that point as well. So warnings can come and they lead to penalties. This could yet shuffle the order.
Well, certainly looking at the McLaren, and I mean, it's the way that it took the inside of the corner, Dennis Lind, as opposed to Ulisses de Pauw. Has de Pauw got a problem? He does. Either he's got a problem or he decided what's going on. It almost looks like the entire field is slowing down. Just that camera angle looked.
Yeah, it was really foreshortening,
distorted the speed that we had been seeing.
But going through turn 6, much tighter line taken by the McLaren driver, Dennis Lind. And maybe at that point, maybe just slightly distracted. Ulisses de Pauw ran a little wide, but is he losing more places?
I noticed it in turn 4 as well. The Ferrari did not look to be quite as au point as it had been on previous laps. Now, Ferrari under pressure from the 26 of Lucas. That's
Lucas Lesser, the Swiss driver who stepped in this weekend to join the Sansalot crew, pushing very hard indeed. And a little bit of a gap. And then comes that train, of course, with Thomas Drouet, Jim Plyer, his teammate, fighting over the last position. Car, unsafe release and a slow pit stop. Well, that's insult to injury with Dennis Lind. So this is a car that was second up to the pit stops. Its pit stop was more than a dozen seconds down on all of those around it and capped that under investigation for an unsafe relief. Oh, dearie me.
Talking about kicking somebody when they're down. I mean, you had a poor pit stop and now you're getting clobbered with an unsafe release. Well, an unsafe release is a 10-second penalty will be added to the car's race time.
10 seconds, that would drop him down behind, I think, possibly even Albert Costa in the 663 Lamborghini from Imperiale Racing. All Dennis can do is just press on, do what he can in the remaining 6 minutes of this race. But it does mean the Gounon Plyer car is now up into the points. They won't be satisfied with 10th, but starting 27th, it's not too bad. Out front, though, Dries Van Tor, 5.7 seconds to good over Raffaele Marciello. And a challenge for that 6th place. And there is something wrong with that
There's
Ferrari.
something not right with the Ferrari, because, I mean, again, you can see Ulisses de Pauw was having to be very defensive into turn 8. He got overtaken there 1 lap ago, and I just think the grip the Ferrari has vanished because it happened very quickly. So nothing that Ulisses de Pauw has been able to do to consolidate his positions, and he's lost 2 positions in the space of 2 laps. Car 89 black, quite disrespecting track limits. So that's Jim Plyer. No, it's
Marciello.
Right, Marciello. 88 is the Jim Plyer. 89. So Raffaele Marciello, the gap has gone up to just a fraction over 6 seconds, and there we are on board with the Italian, and he's been pinged for track limit abuses. So you can see as he comes out of the exit of turn 10, he runs to the limit. I don't know where, probably, or maybe it was down at the very end of the straight where cars have the habit of using maybe more of the racetrack than is intended.
We're on to the final lap. So Team WRT could be heading for victory outright. That looks on the cards for Dries Van Tor. Will they get victory in the Silver Cup? It's there. Yes, they will, providing there's no clash between Thomas Neubauer, who's holding on desperately to third place. Third place won't give him victory in the class per se, because he's already got that in the bag. But it's a matter of pride. Will that first podium come his way? There's a Lamborghini up ahead. They shouldn't catch this on the final lap. Haven't mentioned the gap between first and second, 6.4 seconds. So it's neither really come up nor down. And that is status quo between first and second, between Van Tor and Marciello. But this battle behind them, another 10 seconds back down the track, is absolute fireworks. Benjamin Goethe and Christopher Haas.
So the chance for Haas to make a pass, in my opinion, now has gone. This is going to be the part of the circuit that I felt that if he was going to make something, would have been into turn 8, but it looks as if he's not had the pace to do so. And now up into turn 9 and then turn 10. runs close up to the rear of Benjamin Goethe as he comes through the exit of turn 10. But then the acceleration as we go back to race leader, Dries van Thor.
Right, bear in mind, looking at that top 10 or the results on the left-hand side, that's the running order at the moment. Dennis Lint in the 112 McLaren in 7th place has got a 10-second penalty to be added at the end of the race. That'll drop it through. This is turn 15, now turn 16. The checkered flag is unfurled and it's being waved. That makes it 6 wins in the last 7 races for this pairing of the driver who finished there, Dries van Thor, and the driver who started, Charles Weert. 2nd place, the gap, it's immaterial, but it was more than comfortable. Both cars backing off as they ran to the finish. But 3rd place is going to go to Benjamin Goethe. What a fabulous result for him. He'll take the Silver Cup honours. And behind him, Christopher Haas decides he's Farmer Haas. He's become Jeremy Clarkson. Off the track he goes. It matters not. So double celebrations at WRT.
Yeah, you can see the joy and, well, in fact, the entire team, even Fred Ravish, whose car we're looking at sitting in the... There's got a Parc Fermé sticker on the windscreen, of course. So that's going to be all processed, but Charles Weert and Dries van Thor did what I would call a very workmanlike and professional job, you know, taking the pole position, translating it into a victory, and a good run from Timo Boguslawski and Raffaele Marcello, but they had no answer. They didn't have any more pace. They could match the Audi's pace, but they couldn't exceed it.
So 5.6 seconds to the good. Charles Weert and Dries van Thor, what an astonishing record at Misano. 2nd place, Timo Boguslawski, who started 3rd, and Raffaele Marcello, who tigered forward as ever. Then Thomas Neubauer and Benjamin Goethe, winners in the Silver Cup class, with their rivals in 7th, 8th and 9th position. So that was a fabulous first podium for the French-Danish combination. Simon Gachet and Christopher Haas chased hard to come home 4th. Peter Schotthorst and Dennis Marshall worked their way up to 5th for Attempto Racing, and Jean-Baptiste Simonau and Christopher Mies in yet another Team WRT Audi, rounding out the top 6.
Charles, Dries, a fantastic win for you. You look really hot, Dries. Was that tough?
Well, at the end it was getting a bit too hot, but other than that it was, you know, it's always, you know, we always, I mean, our main competitor is the Mercedes, and every time, you know, it's me against Marcello, it's always, you know, you always have to give everything. So it was tough in the beginning to try and keep the gap the same, but then clearly soon we found out that we had similar pace, so I could, you know, still push, but I knew he wouldn't catch, and that was just giving me a bit of an easier time. So yeah, happy.
Well done, fantastic. And Charles, of course, you pitted slightly later than some of the others in the field, and that seemed to be key.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, we had a good start, and then a good restart also. With all the debris on the track, it was not so easy to avoid. But then, yeah, I just went, and the car was just incredible to drive. So again, perfect job by the whole team. So thanks a lot to them. And yeah, as Dries said, it looks like the 89 always stays with us. So it's difficult to really make a gap, but at least we got the win, and that's really a good thing.
Congratulations, well done.
Well, John, you can see they worked hard and bringing it home. Dries van Thor, he knew he couldn't back off, he didn't back off, but he just knew that gap was stabilising at around 5 seconds and he sat on it.
Well, all he had to do was run his own lap times off the time that he was being given from what Mercedes was doing, Raffaele Marcello, so he didn't need to extend that gap. But the only downside would have been, had there been a full course yellow, then the subsequent safety car, that would have brought the field back to a much closer time.
So it's a hot day's work here at Misano. They've got to do it all over again tomorrow, but all you can do is win what's put in front of you. Welcome to the circuit, Marco Simoncelli at Misano. Look at the grandstands though, they're here for Valle, for Valentino Rossi. As the band plays, the grandstand opposite pits absolutely filled with people in the bright yellow hats, the 46 number and the t-shirts as well. They're looking for glory. And let's go down and hear from Valentino Rossi. He's down on the grid, he's with Gemma. He's going to give us his thoughts about racing on 4 wheels.
Valle, it's great to see you once again in your home circuit. Literally, you live 20 minutes away, well equipped for the heat as well with your ice vest. Let's just ask first of all, how are you enjoying your weekend?
It's great because really this time I have a lot of fans, and it's a great moment for say ciao to everybody, for make some picture, for make some autograph. We have to fight a lot with the temperature because all the weekend is incredibly hot, but we will see. Yesterday I think that we have a good potential for arriving in the top 10, but I did a mistake in the box, unfortunately. Today we start in a better position on the grid. Fred will start, so we will try another time.
it's really nice to see actually throughout the season the progression that you're making with learning the car, learning the tracks, and the difference you've had to learn from 2 wheels to 4.
Yes, the level is very high, and you have a lot of drivers that are so fast, and that they have a good experience with these cars, and they know how to bring at the limit from the first lap. So it's not easy, but I try to learn. I try to learn from Fred, from the data. I try to make step by step, and it's a great challenge.
It certainly is. Thank you very much. Have a great race.
Rossi has added, well, it's a hot day here, he's added thousands to the gates. They've been thronging the paddock. So all eyes on the pace car pulling into pit lane. 1, 2, 3, the lights are out. Off it goes to the left through the kink pit lane into the final corner. 2 by 2 they must come. 25 cars today, with 2 of the cars being eliminated on yesterday's opening lap. Now look, the red lights up there on the gantry the second they turn green. I sense it looks like a good start coming from Dries van Tor. It looks as though he had his nose in front. Very much so, and the car in second place on the grid lost 1 position. That was Christopher Haase, falling behind Christopher Mies, a driver who never eschews a chance to go forward. The person who's gained 1 place is Ulysses de Pauw, got ahead into 5th place of Dennis Marshall. So a little bit of gain, but you could have sensed going out of turn 16 it wasn't the best of exits from the car that started the race in second place, and accordingly Christopher Haase back to third, but back into second now.
Yeah, they managed to get around the outside of turn 1, and then the 2 Christophers were side by side, and you can see just coming through turn 4 and contact. One of the McLarens has been spun around, and another car just running wide, so contact already. Well, that's before we get into the end of the first sector.
Yeah, well, that 46. Was Norbert Siedler, the exit of turn 5 being spun around, so they already had the 3-place grid penalty, and that has been compounded. But up front, great start by Dries van Tor, and Fred Vervies is pushing on.
Here it is on the outside of turn 5, where the whole lot starts to kick off. And already the Porsche was going slow. The McLaren, you could see spinning across the front of the Porsche. And then whatever occurred through turn 6.
So we're green again, so Dries van Tor can dictate the pace. The safety car period has come to an end, and he's leading away. But this is easier than leading away from a 2x2 grid on a rolling start. It's 1 by 1. Down behind, Ulysses de Pauw in 5th place in his... Oh, he's just been passed very tidily indeed. Matthias Drudy didn't need a second invitation, and that's followed through. Fred Vervies, he loves turn 7, turn 2. It didn't work for 46, but it'd be up the inside, almost rubbing the paint off the back of the Ferrari. Will there be a move coming into turn 4? He's only been off at the outside line, but the Ferrari holds up, and there was a Lamborghini diving up the inside. Yeah, Albert Costa.
Fred Vervies outsmarted himself in the battle to try and get ahead of the Ferrari, and he's lost the position to Albert Costa. Albert Costa very quickly read what was going on and ducked down to the inside and got up alongside 46, and that's not a mistake. That's just what happens on the opening lap. Yet again, look, Albert Costa tries to go the long way around in turn 8. Ulysses de Pauw is not giving him any room to work with, so he has to back out of it, and then the run up to turn 9 and 10. You can see Albert Costa has got strong intentions up the inside into turn 10, on the inside of the exit of turn 10, and he's taken that position away.
Pit window is now open.
So the 93 Sky Tempesta Mercedes is in. Oh, round the outside, is it going to work? No, but at least he's looking, trying to be creative, find another way. Hasn't worked up the inside. Tried it round the outside again, under the rear wing of Schul. Now, you're allowed to make one move defensively, but Goethe is going to go the long way round, and he's pushing. But he may have to be very brave and hopefully he gets away with it. And, well, very exciting stuff.
Well, it really is, John. That could be one for the stewards, and mixing it with them as well. Ethan Simeone, the Canadian McLaren racer, goes around the outside. So a real case of pushing that side, and Goethe goes, you know what, I'll call that a day. I'll come into the pits. I
was always coming into the pits, Bruce.
Yeah, I was, clearly. I didn't write it down. It looks as though the McLaren was trying to go into the wrong pit lane there. Who's about to peel off. I think that's Ethan Simeone.
So we got the 88 Jumplar in, and he'll hand over to Jules Gougnot.
Just want to point out, actually, it wasn't Ethan Simeone, it was the teammate, the sister car, the 112 with Dennis Lind. So he's bringing that into hand. There it is at a standstill, looking fabulous in gold and black. That's going to be handed over to Vincent Abril, who yesterday, don't forget, started from second position on the grid. So he has pace in this car. But a driver who's got plenty of pace, plenty of poise, plenty of balance is Dries van Tor. 5.5 seconds to good. More cars entering the pit lane. There's that Christopher Haase car. It's a very tight entrance to the pit lane. The long run down with the pit limiter on. And then, of course, that long curving rejoinder before the track is joined at turn 3, the exit of turn 3. Team WRT, their garage is right down by pit exit, so it's the long run, but then it's the shorter blast when they get going. So Dries and Charles, 5 wins out of the last 6 wins here. 6 races here, and we'll be looking to build on that.
So you'll be looking for an in and out time somewhere in the 1 minute 5 second range. And there it goes. And that, what a great stop. That looks to have been Valentino Rossi getting on his mark. So left-hand drive or left-hand steering Audi. So he will be close to the garage. So there we see the 46 in, Fred Ravish out already, and Valentino Rossi will be getting in. So a lot of cars all rolling down the pit lane, so it's important to be careful for safe release. You don't want to get a penalty for being a little bit optimistic, as Timo Boguslawski leads this train of cars all the way down. So there's the Audi back out again. That was the car that Christopher Mies was behind the wheel. So Timo Boguslawski, once this all washes through, one is assuming that it'll be 32 Audi. It might now be the 89 Mercedes. Not quite sure where the Christopher Haas car, which Haas has now handed over to Simon Gachet, will be. It currently would be behind Charles Weerts on timing and scoring, but it just depends where the 89 Mercedes blends in.
Yeah, but just pointing out that the 89 crew from Mercedes ASP did a 1 minute 3.8 second pit stop, so they gained 0.4 of a second on the
32.
race leading car.
Yes.
Doesn't matter too much, it's what it gained relative to the others. But Charles Weerts back on board in the lead of this race. They were 4 and a bit seconds to good.
And Charles Weerts on his first flying lap has set the fastest race lap, 1:32.886. So that car, that young driver behind the wheel, has stood on the loud pedal and has done a pretty impressive first flying lap on a brand new set of Pirelli rubber, or the best of the rest of the Pirelli rubber, consolidating all the hard yards done by Dries van Thor in his opening, what was 28 minutes or so stint.
Charles Weerts now 10.5 seconds clear of Timo Boguslawski. Like yesterday, there is no answer from the Mercedes ASP Mercedes, but that very good pit stop bought them track position. But what's happening, he is stabilised the gap back to 3rd place. There's no attack. It's 2 seconds back to Jean-Baptiste Simonauer, so he should be safe, at least in 2nd. Well, Neubauer's certainly looking to the left, looking to the right, semi-faint here. Am I serious? Am I just probing? Am I pushing? He's pushing, that's for sure. And I sense now he's closer than he's been before. Turn 9, well, half a gap, and he's dived down the inside. Can he get into 10 and out? They'll be side by side as they accelerate. The power went down earlier from the Lamborghini, but he's on the outside line when they get to the kink at turn 11. This is racing at Misano, John. This is how it should be down the back straight.
Yeah, side by side, but the advantage goes to a bit of bodywork, a bit in the middle of the track, and that forced the Audi to move over to the left, which I think slightly caught Lamborghini unexpectedly. DeFalco didn't quite understand what was going on, but it was clearly because otherwise the Audi of Thomas Neubauer was going to hit that bit of errant bodywork, and that would have been a, well, let's not worry about it, because it didn't happen.
So, oh gosh, we got one of the, I think that's the Thomas Drouet car that's been handed
what a
over.
mess, what a mess, what a mess.
Yeah. Those were teammates clashing, and unfortunately Igor Valilko has been spat to the outside of the circuit between turn 8 and turn 9. 3 into 2 did not work, and I have to say Valilko was the innocent party in that.
Well, he got the benefit into turn 8, and he was the other two cars. Yes, indeed, the sister car didn't see that Valilko was on the outside as they came up into turn 9. Big cloud of dust behind us, and that's coming down into turn 13. Didn't see what the action was, but certainly enough to kick up a big plume of gravel dust.
Yeah, that was quite intriguing. Right, I just want to point out the point situation. Coming into this second race at Misano, 93 points of Vantor and Weerts, and Boguslawski and Marcello 7 points down. But if they finish as they are, to be another 4.5 points gained, which would be a really big advantage for them.
Yeah, I think the plume of dust we saw might have been from Lorenzo Petresi in the number 12 Dresser by Car Collection Audi. We need to get that confirmed, but that's the word we're getting from the gallery as we go back to this battle between Rossi now in 5th position and Jules Gounon in 6th. So there's the 20 seconds.
Well, full course yellow in 20 seconds is the announcement from race control. And that is, we think John picked that up, the dust in the background at turn 13. And certainly Lorenzo Petresi's car dropped down the order. He was running that excellent 5th place. Now 5th place is Valentino Rossi. There is Petresi. There is the famous white and blue stripy helmet. The 16-year-old walking away. The tyre wall has done its job. Clearly, he's run down the side of that, ripped all the belting off the front.
Yeah, that's the, we see him. Oh, and that's a pretty big Yeah, and hits the front of the car pretty heavily into that, 90 degrees into the belting and the tires, so that's going to take some time to get the car recovered.
45 seconds time penalty added to the final race time to car 18.
Charles Vitz, perfect restart, and Timo Boguslawski actually hanging back a little too far, was caught napping there.
So the Ferrari just pulls over to the left-hand side of the racetrack, lets this race-leading battle, top 4 cars all get through, but Gugno dived down the inside. Did he make a pass on Rossi?
He did. He got past Rossi into turn 1. The Ferrari of Louis Michiels might have been slightly in the way in front of them. First 4 are nice, clear. Who's going to come through in 5th? It's still Rossi. He held on. Obviously got back ahead into turn 2. Nip and tuck, but it's far from over. And Thomas Neubauer is being given a rub, and that's Alex Acker, who's getting very close in the Silver Cup class. We'll have to focus on the front. It looks like the McLaren in the background. Vincent Abril got a bit of body damage as well.
I think Thomas Neubauer got outmaneuvered really in that opening 3-corner sequence. So that's not been good. And again, I was certain that was a pass by Jules Gugno, but good on Valentino Rossi, who used his instinctive racing skills as the battle behind. Look at Simonar and Simon Gachet up the inside. So Gachet on a little hip and shoulders, they come through turn 10. So he's gained that 3rd position. And we're now racing to the checkered flag.
Racing to the checkered flag with a clear advantage for Charles Vitz. Timo Boguslawski just a little bit too far back at the restart. Yes, the Ferrari was between them, but Louis Michiels pulled out the way. But Charles Vitz, well, he's just been absolutely superb at this meeting. And this will be a 7th consecutive win for his pairing here. His first ever win in the Sprint Series was here in 2019. And that is 7 from 8 runs here. Victory for Wirtz and Vantor. Round the final corner he goes. And look at the gap back to Timo Boguslawski. And then the excellent Simon Gachet up into 3rd place ahead of Jean-Baptiste Simonar. And 5th place has been secured. A new target achieved for Valentino Rossi.
Excellent performance, and Rossi will get out of the car. He will have a smile on his face because he knows he will have done a good job here this afternoon for himself, for his team, but most of all for all the fans of Valentino Rossi that are present here at Misano, for those in Italy and for those around the world who are cheering on this hero to see him achieve greater and greater success.
So looking down the race order at the end, yet another win. A 7th in 8 starts at Misano for Charles Wirtz and Dries Vantor. Timo Boguslawski brought the Mercedes number 89 home in 2nd place, but that was consolidation for them. Then Christopher Haase and Simon Gachet showing that the Tracer by Car Collection team is a force to be reckoned with as it develops through its maiden season. Jean-Baptiste Simonar brought home the car, started by Christopher Mies. So 3 Audis in the top 4 positions, but the Audi that most people watching here at Misano, Fred Vervies started it. Valentino Rossi finished it, and it's 5th place, the best result for that duo. And for Dries Vantor and Charles Wirtz, well, absolutely fantastic. Let's go down and hear from them in Parc Fermé.
Good stint, good start. Great job by the team all weekend. The car has been phenomenal, especially on long runs. I think that's where really our strongest point is. I think on 1 lap pace we are. I mean, it's close with everyone, with all the Audis and probably the Mercs. But on a long run, I think we can really stretch our legs, and I think that's what we did this weekend.
Absolutely. I mean, a fantastic weekend and your first pole in quite a while. So you're pleased with that, I know. Charles, of course, that closing stint quite difficult with that safety car right at the end, but bringing it home.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Dries gave me a nice lead, so I mean, I still had to push to make sure. Yeah, we never know what can happen, and we saw here with the safety car, and yeah, it was always a bit of excitement with the safety car in the last lap. But yeah, anyway, the car was really good, like Dries said. So we did a good pit stop also, no mistake. So yeah, bring it on.
Next stop, Spa, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well done, lads.
So right, the advantage was just half a point for Wirtz and Vantor when they arrived here over Boguslawski and Marciello, but their 2 great results plus those bonus points for pole positions have stretched it to 11.5 points. It means if they get a really good win potentially in the first of races at the final round, they may even be able to wrap it up with a race to go. Getting quite a collection. Sort of feel they need to build a bigger trophy room at Team WRT for all these trophies, and certainly Misano has been such a happy hunting ground for them. But that's it from us at Misano.